Do you like first-person shooters where you can hack and slash enemies?
Yes!
Do you like to support indie games, especially when they're created by a single developer?
Yes! Yes!
And do you like easy but non-grubby slash shovelware platinums?
I thought you'd never ask.
Then Bright Memory Infinite will be right up your street. PSN Profiles has it coming in at a 3 out of 10, requiring 3 playthroughs and a mind-numbing 7 hours to get the platinum. Bright Memory Infinite has a total of 31 trophies, consisting of 14 bronze, 11 silver, 5 gold, and the platinum trophy itself. So first off, we're going to play through the game completely blind, in order to experience Bright Memory Infinite in all its glory. Then, I'll be tackling the difficulty related trophies, Revenge and Hell difficulty. And then, I'll be utilising the chapter select in order to get the miscellaneous trophies for the cleanup. So, the story itself isn't that fascinating, but we start with a cutscene where Shelia, that's who we'll be playing as, receives a call from Director Chen, explaining that satellites have observed some abnormal weather and that it could escalate into a catastrophe. We put on our gear and jump into our space jet shuttle thing and warp drive to the coordinates given to us. We end up crashing the jet, women drivers, and have to eject and parachute down to safety. Director Chen then tells us that General Lin and his forces are already on the scene, and we need to be careful.
Counting on your intel. According to satellite intel, General Lin's unit has already landed. Watch out.
After a brief tutorial teaching us how basic combat and movement works, we have to fight through a bunch of soldiers. Aim assist felt really strong, and there was the occasional screen tear, but the game felt fantastic, especially when I upped my sensitivity. We get to an opening where we attempt to sneak up on a bunch of enemies when there is this strange blast of force which knocks us back. When we get back to our feet, we realise the soldiers have all turned into gladiator type enemies, and these guys are a lot more difficult to deal with. While fighting these gladiator type enemies, we get our first trophy of the game, Battle Hardened, for severing 50 limbs. Moving on, we find out that there is a black hole in the sky, and that was the cause of the earlier force blast. Something to do with time, jumping, etc. But I'm not going to lie, I wasn't really following at this point. I was just having too much fun killing absolutely everything that moved. I noticed I'd started picking up these little green crystal things called reliquaries, and was also earning them from getting kills occasionally. These could be used to upgrade the power of my weapon's alternative fire mode, my blade skills, and my suit. We continued to hack and slash away, and when we got the next trophy, Matchless Warrior, for now severing 100 limbs. I then came to an opening and paused for a second, knowing full well that something was about to go down, as it was just too obvious. Lo and behold, my first boss fight. And in truth, this guy gave me a bit of a spanking on my first attempt. Having to chip away at his armour before then being able to deal real damage was a nice change of pace, and certainly got the blood pumping. We eventually defeat Tianyu Emperor and get the trophy, Power Balance.
Time's up, that's all.
Nothing much was really changing with the story. It was still a case of making our way to the shrine to meet up with General Lin, see what he's up to and put a stop to it. We continued killing whatever came our way, using all the guns at my disposal, until eventually I got another trophy, AR Silver, for getting 80 kills with the assault rifle. Then it was time to fight the second boss of the game, and this guy was fucking huge. Not too difficult by himself, but because every so often some archer style enemies would appear, I had to keep my wits and be constantly on the move. This was made even more tricky during the second phase of the fight, where the Giant King would hurl boulders from time to time. Regardless, the Giant King was defeated, and with that I earned the trophy, Battlefield Veteran. We are then sent to a car with a rocket launcher attached to it by Director Chen, but have to fight through an area swarming with enemies to get to it. I battled my way through and managed to show off just how bad I am at using long range weapons, but got the trophy, SR Silver, for getting 50 kills with the sniper rifle. Then came probably the most over-the-top section I've seen in a game for a long time. Racing the car through fields and inside a mountain before then having to eject and grappling hooking myself onto the side of a plane, fighting on the plane while it's travelling at God knows what speed before falling off and hitting a tree which clearly broke the fall. We then had to fight 2 rock doggy style enemies, which was fairly simple, before we then picked up another green crystal and got the trophy Get Rich for acquiring 20 of them. So story wise, I was almost at the shrine, but I still had a fair few enemies to fight through first. I got 3 trophies in quick succession. Using the green crystals I'd been picking up, I unlocked the move Blade/Whirlwind level 3 for the trophy Auto Tracking. Then the trophy Get Richest for acquiring 100 relics, which came completely out of nowhere and had me stumped. And then the trophy Eagle Eye for deflecting 20 enemy bullets. So we're finally at the shrine, and do you guys remember Tianyu Emperor? Well yeah, he's back for round 2, but this time he had a few new moves. Due to all the different enemy types throughout the game and vast amount of fighting, by this point I felt like I could take anybody on, and it certainly showed as I absolutely battered him. In doing so, I got the trophy Fallen General. With the Emperor slain, all that was left was the 6-armed Emperor, the game's final boss. This was by far the most difficult part of the game, and so it should be. It took me roughly 3 or 4 attempts, and it had me genuinely worried for the harder difficulties that I'd still got to fight through. With the Emperor's sheer size and all of his high damage attacks, my poo pipe was going 5p, 50p, 5p, 50p continuously. Once I'd figured out his attacks, the fight became slightly easier and I was able to defeat him and earned myself the next trophy, Burning Bridges. Then came the endgame cutscene. We were about to grab hold of some blue floating hourglass thing, which as far as I'm aware was never explained what exactly it is, when General Lim shoots us in the back. A helicopter saves us from being executed, but we manage to rugby tackle Lin, causing the hourglass thing to break on the floor. There's a huge bright light and we find ourselves back in our bed at the start of the game again. Confused as hell. I seriously don't know what the hell happened. But we get the trophy, Restoration, for completing the game. So now it was time to beat the game on Revenge difficulty, and thankfully, similarly to Wolfenstein The New Order, you only have to beat the last level. To be fair, I flew through this time round and found myself back at the boss fight in no time. One of the final boss's attacks is a little snake, and I happened to get my 50th handgun kill on it for the trophy HG Silver. And then proceeded to beat the final boss, watch the exact same confusing cutscene for the trophy Bitter Rivals for completing the game on Revenge. I then went straight for Hell difficulty. However, I did earn a couple of trophies while on my way towards the boss fight. First was Flames in the Sky for learning the Rocket Punch level 3 ability, and that was closely followed by Peerless Warrior for defeating 80 enemies using any skill. And then, during the boss before the final boss, I then earned the trophy Extreme Skills for activating counter 50 times. Now it was time for what I was dreading, the hardest fight on the hardest difficulty, and considering my arsehole had been twitching during previous difficulties, I was scared, and I had every right to be. I got my arse handed to me multiple times, and I was thinking it was going to be the run killer. However, I persisted and thankfully managed to pull the win out of the bag and earned the trophy Infinite for completing the game on Hell difficulty. With all that over and done with, it was just a case of cleaning up and earning the miscellaneous and grindy trophies. First was the trophy None Shall Survive for killing 15 enemies without being spotted during the one mission where you are armed with nothing more than a meat cleaver. Followed by SG Silver for defeating 80 enemies with the shotgun. Then SR Gold for defeating 100 enemies with the sniper rifle. I then had to replay the mission with the over-the-top action-packed scenes, so I had to destroy 5 enemy vehicles while driving the rocket launcher mounted car, and I'd gotten 4 of those during my initial playthrough, so after destroying 1 car, I got the trophy Bullseye. Then it was a case of going back and replaying the start of the same mission for a number of trophies. So first we've got HG Gold for getting 100 kills with the handgun, followed by the trophy Get Richer for acquiring 50 of the green crystals, which meant I now had more upgrade points than skills to use them on. Then it was SG Gold for defeating 150 enemies with the shotgun, and AR Gold for defeating 150 enemies with the assault rifle, the last 2 trophies within like 8 kills of each other. With just 3 trophies left, I of course had left one of the more fiddledy trophies until now. I had to defeat 20 enemies using flame type weapons, which meant I had to use the shotgun's secondary fire mode, but if the enemy died from the shot, it would not count. So I had to shoot the floor and get the enemy to walk into it and die, and eventually I got the trophy The Heat Is On, before then getting my 150th kill using a skill for the trophy Herculean Strength. And the last trophy was for activating 100 counters, so I found a couple of ranged enemies and proceeded to deflect their arrows back at them for what felt like an eternity, and earned Invulnerable, and of course that beautiful Platinum trophy. So what are my final thoughts on Bright Memory Infinite? It's an amazing game to just turn the brain off and have fun killing anything that moves. Majority of the trophies will come naturally, just from playing, and I would highly recommend as perhaps a stopgap in between the usual 20 to 40 hour platinums that we all chase daily. Also, while I've still got you here, thank you for helping me achieve my first milestone of 100 subs. So now it's time to move the goalposts, as we now aim for 250 subscribers. If you could, please leave a like and comment, as the interaction with all you fine people is the best part of making videos, and I hope to see you again on the next one.